This is the Royals POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Kansas City Royals. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome in. It is a victorious edition of the Royals POSTCAST here, a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. I'm your host, Chance Liebau, and I am here to bring you reaction to every Royals game the rest of this season. This is, I believe, our fourth episode of the Royals POSTCAST, second one after a win, and boy, does this one feel a little bit better than the other ones. That was about, that felt like the cap bursting there for the Royals. They finally get some hits with runners in scoring position. They finally leave the yard a couple of times. We'll be giving you some more reactions here in just a bit. But I want to remind you, you can follow me on Twitter at Chance Liebau. It's right there if you're watching on the YouTube channel. Go ahead and shoot me a follow on Twitter or X. You can expect these episodes after every single game this season. We'll go live on YouTube for about 15 minutes after each game ends, and we'll take you through the biggest moments and the biggest takeaways from each game. If you aren't able to join us live, be sure to hop over to wherever you get your podcasts on demand. That can be Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Google Podcasts, Odyssey. All of those things will be on there, or you can come back and watch it after the fact on YouTube. Once again, we appreciate you all for listening, however you are listening, whether it be live or after the fact. Before we get started, if you are watching live, be sure to hit like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so that you know when we go live after every Royals game this season. Here's how the show will go on a nightly basis. I'll kind of tell you what I thought about the game, some of the things I liked, some of the things I didn't like, and all that jazz. And then we'll kind of talk about the series to come as the Yankees are in town next. Feel free to join the live chat. We appreciate all of you for hopping in. A lot of people hopping in the chat so far. We've got Gary hopping in. We've got Elizabeth hopping in. Jalen is in. We've got some regulars here in the chat. Appreciate you all for hopping in and joining us here on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. I know that I'm looking forward to getting outside here in a little bit, enjoying my time watching the Royals, but a beautiful day to take advantage of today here in the Midwest. All right, we'll start out with the obvious. It's the thing that is on the thumbnail of the video. It is probably the thing that all you want me to talk about. It's Jac Caglianone. He was, I said yesterday after the game, this was the best Jac Caglianone performance front to back that we've seen so far. Maybe you could argue his major league debut against the Cardinals in the first game was the better one. I could go either way. Today was him truly coming into what we believe that he can be. Obviously didn't leave the yard like a lot of people wanted, like I expected him to. But for Jac, this was about as good of a game you could have expected for him. He got some really good swings off that didn't connect with the baseball. I remember when they went lefty-lefty with him in his third at-bat of the game, and he really pulls off on one, gets a great swing off on that slider inside right down the middle. Missed it, adjusted, and guess what? Hits a single into center field, gets on the board early with a double. Here was how his 4 at-bats went today. He had a 113-mile-an-hour double, 101-mile-an-hour single, 91-mile-an-hour single on a chopper through the hole, and then 104 off the bat in his last at-bat to secure a 4-for-4 day. His batting average right now after this one is all the way up to 240, which, isn't eye-popping. It's not going to get him an all-star nod. It's not going to, win him Rookie of the Year or anything. But it finally felt like, he had put some really good swings on balls. He had hit the ball hard a lot of different places. And he just wasn't having BABIP luck, batting average on balls in play. Wasn't having luck. He had great luck in Omaha and at Northwest Arkansas in the minor league games. He was having great luck. And it was one of those things where a lot of people like Preston Farr on Twitter, who's a great follow if you're into Royals minor league baseball, they were pointing out that he's probably not going to get a 360 BABIP at the big league level like he was at the lower levels of the minor leagues. Now we're seeing him put the ball in play. He hasn't struck out really much since that hat trick performance against the Cardinals in game 2 of the doubleheader. I was a bit surprised he was in the lineup today, but I think that it was a great decision by Quatrero to put him in the lineup. But this was his best, most complete game. It showed you what he's capable of. He is not just a one-trick pony. He is a guy that is going to hit the ball hard. He's going to hit the ball all over the field. I mean, he was really putting the ball all over the field, using the middle of the field. one thing that I said yesterday in the postcast was it really feels like he's yanking a little bit. He's trying to turn and burn a little bit too much. They had Joel out there yesterday sitting in the right field bleachers, kind of waiting for a baseball. It felt like every time he took a swing, he was trying to put it on the tee box and hit Joel out there in right field. Today, it felt like he was a more condensed approach, working the middle of the field, and then obviously he had the double to right center. So I think this was really a preview of things to come for Jac Caglianone. When you really eyeball it early, you were like, man, he's only hitting under 100. Is it time to worry? I wasn't worried. I thought yesterday, if he had a bad game yesterday, I would have maybe been a little bit concerned. But he had a good day at the plate yesterday, put some good swings on a ball. And then today it all kind of came to fruition. My saying is if you hit 300 over a full season, you're going to hit 200 for a week. You're going to hit 400 for a week. You don't just go 3 for 10 all the time. Hitting 300 is not an easy thing to do. It's not a consistent thing to do. There are going to be some peaks and valleys for Cags. And I think that today was truly him at his absolute best, using the middle of the field to his best of his ability. And also, tapping into that power, having the double to right center. And I think that what might get lost in his performance at the plate, he made a really tough catch. I can't remember who hit it in the ball game, but makes a nice catch in right field at the warning track. I mean, for a guy that's only got 5 or 6 professional games in right field, that's not a ball you are really comfortable with catching just yet, especially at the big league level. It was a great day for Cags overall at the plate. I was very impressed. It felt like that was his. It feels like when he comes to the plate at the K in front of a potentially packed out crowd against the Yankees on Tuesday, the adrenaline's going to be pumping for him, obviously, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what Jac Caglianone can do coming into the homestand with the Yankees and the A's on deck for the Royals coming up in the next couple of days. So Jac Caglianone has a great day at the plate. Michael Lorenzen, there were some worrisome signs early. I know a lot of people were concerned with his first couple of innings, but really settled in there after that dreadful first inning. The one thing that I really noticed was he was using his fastball a lot less. That fastball, in the middle of his career, I guess kind of in the prime of his career, was an upper 90s pitch. It's sitting in the low to mid 90s right now at its best. It's an easier pitch to hit. Batters are hitting 263 against his fastball this season with a 500 slugging percentage coming into today. So I don't know if I would say that Michael Lorenzen has earned a spot in the rotation. I like how Quattro's playing it. They've had some bad luck injury-wise with the pitching staff early this season. We've seen Reagan's with an injured list stint. We've seen one for Lugo. Lucas Ursig obviously getting an injured list stint right now. So I think they're doing their best with the bullpen in the rotation that they can, skipping starts, pushing guys back a day. I really like how Quatraro, hey, here's a positive for Matt Quatraro. It's really hard to come by on the internet nowadays, but I really like how Matt Quatraro has managed the pitching staff to this point this season. And Michael Lorenzen was obviously paramount today in the Royals win as they pick up a 7-2 win over the Chicago White Sox. All right, we are going to hit a break. When we come back, we will talk about the big homestand coming up next, and also some of the things that I didn't really like in this outing as the Royals win 7-5 against the Chicago White Sox. That's coming up next here on Locked On Royals on the Locked On Podcast Network. All right, back here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It is your Royals postcast. I'm Chance Liebau. Thank you so much for joining us here live here on a Sunday afternoon. Keep the chats coming here in the comments section. Appreciate you guys all for chiming in. Gary, Camaro, Tony, all hopping in here. Appreciate you guys all for hopping in the live chat. And if you are watching afterwards, if you're listening afterwards, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification icon. And you can hop in the live chat after a Royals win here in the next couple of weeks. Some of the things I didn't like from this game, it was a really, really tough win for the Royals when you consider the fact that they really had a chance to pull this one away and win comfortably. I felt like this was the most comfortable win the Royals had all season. Then Trevor Richards comes in and really doesn't pitch that well. And then the rain starts pouring. Carlos Estevez has to come in, and obviously he gets the save, but you had the tying run on second base. Really not this season, the Royals are not as I don't want to say not as good as they were last year, but against teams like the White Sox, who aren't, historically bad, they are, struggling a little bit. They were in a position where they could have been swept by the White Sox. We could have been starting the podcast right about now after the White Sox come back from down 7-2 in the bottom of the ninth and win it in a rainout or in the middle of a rainstorm. So it obviously could be worse, but the Royals need to be much better at getting, I don't want to say getting guys out because that's an obvious thing they need to do better at, but they just make things look so difficult on the mound sometimes, especially the bullpen right now. I'm not sure where they rank. I need to pull that up. But in terms of the bullpen, their whip as a bullpen, I don't think it's very good other than Lucas Erceg, because it feels like they have a lot of guys that, walk a lot of guys that give up, base hits. The bullpen is not great right now. And Matt Quatraro has been dealt a tough hand. His ace of spades is on the injured list right now. Carlos Estevez wasn't sharp today. Obviously, Hunter Harvey has been out for a long time this season. So the bullpen is not easy to manage. It's really easy for us to sit back in our recliner and play couch quarterback and say, well, they should have brought in this guy here. They should have brought in this guy there. He's been dealt a really, really rough shot bullpen that he didn't have to deal with last season. Last season, they had really good health for the most part. We haven't seen that yet from the Royals this season. They've had a lot of pitchers on the injured list. You think about Hunter Harvey, Alec Marsh, Lucas Erceg. A lot of those guys dealing with injuries has left them with a tough bullpen to manage. So I didn't hate how Q managed the bullpen today. I know people weren't happy about Lorenzen getting the sixth, but guess what? They had to have Lorenzen get the sixth, or else we're talking about the Royals potentially blowing a late lead once again. Other things I didn't like, runners on base. They just continue to struggle with runners on base, grounding into countless double plays. I can only imagine being a ground ball pitcher and getting to face the Royals. It has to be, licking your chops, because this is a team that's free swinging, puts a lot of balls in play and a lot of balls on the ground. And right now they are grounding into a ton of double plays. There was 4 today. Heading into that ninth inning, they were 2 of 10 with runners in scoring position. They just don't have very good, I don't want to call it situational. Hitting. These guys are all professional hitters. They, even the guys that have been bad in situational hitting, like Salvi, he's a 15-year pro. Like, he knows what he's doing at the plate. Nobody with 0 years of major league experience knows better than Salvador bleeping Perez what to do at the plate in certain situations. He just hasn't gotten a whole lot of good balls to hit this season. He did today. He got a great ball to hit today. I think that's why you keep him in the order. But the runners on base, they continue to struggle. And honestly, I wouldn't hate for them to get a little bit more aggressive on the base paths when they have runners on first and second. Now, Kyle Teal is an elite arm behind the plate, so I am okay with them not stealing third with Jonathan India, with Kyle Teal behind the plate, but trying to move runners a little bit more. I know that they tried to with Michael Garcia the other night, and it was met with a lot of scrutiny, as it should have been. But right now they are just struggling they're giving a lot of easy outs to weak contact, ground balls, sharp play to shortstop. They got to try and elevate a little bit more. And I don't think it's a coaching thing. I don't think it's an approach thing. I just think it's who they are at this point of their careers. I mean, Drew Waters is a guy that is a ground ball hitter. He's a line drive ground ball hitter. He's not going to elevate a whole lot of baseballs. Nick Lofton, same way. Michael Garcia, for the most part, is the same way. They have a lot of guys that hit the ball on the ground. Jonathan India is that to a T this season. He's a ground ball hitter. That's who he is. So I think that right now they just are running into some bad luck, hitting the ball on the ground when it comes at the absolute worst time. The Royals last year were shockingly in sort of an anomaly how good they were with runners in scoring position and runners on base. If you remember back to last season, they had like 3 of the top 5 in the American League in terms of hitting with runners in scoring position. This year, they've kind of regressed back to being average. And I talked about it on Twitter yesterday. Bobby Witt Jr. going from the best shortstop season in a single season since A-Rod to a really, really good shortstop, still the best shortstop in baseball. I mean, that's felt in a big way. Going from hitting 330 to 290, that's like going from hitting 270 to 230 still. I mean, that's just the reality. It's a tough hand to be dealt. And they've kind of regressed back to the mean. And right now they are at this point struggling. And I think that at some point the law of averages is going to kick in and they're going to have a really good inning like they did in the ninth today. But I'm still holding out hope that they make a move at the deadline. I don't think Cam Devaney is the answer. I don't think any of those guys in AAA are the answer. I think the answer is playing in Los Angeles or Miami right now with a potential bat that they could get at the deadline. Jack will give you most of those analyses when he does his daily podcast, which will return tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network. Royals and Yankees coming up here at the K, a big series. They have set up the rotation to where I think that they will be much more competitive. You get Noah Cameron going, I believe, tomorrow. Then Chris Bubic, or no, it's Bubic and then Cameron and then Lugo, if I'm not mistaken. But I think this is a winnable series. The Yankees are a really good team, but I think the way the Royals are hitting right now, the Royals are hitting for average. They are just struggling to move those runners around. Maybe they bust loose and are able to convert some runners in scoring position when the series comes to Kansas City and they take on the Yankees. But obviously, I think they get Max Fried coming up here in the next couple of days. Let me check FanGraphs here real quick. Let's see what the Yankees have in terms of projected starters going into this series, because Max Fried, in my opinion, is the best pitcher in the American League right now. So that's going to be a really tough cookie to crack. Let's look at I'll pull it over to this browser right here. All right. It looks like we are going to see Clark Schmidt, then Max Fried, then Will Warren. So that looks like the projected starters here in this series for the Yankees. So a tough series coming up, regardless of who the Yankees are. The Yankees are a really good baseball team. But I still am holding out hope that the Royals are going to be a playoff team. But they made it look really difficult today against a really bad team. But the White Sox, like people were saying in the comments yesterday, playing a lot better right now. So it's not like it's last year's White Sox. But I appreciate you guys for all joining us in the chat, joining us live here on the show. We will not have a postcast tomorrow because the Royals have a day off tomorrow. So be sure to enjoy some time with your family, enjoy some great weather if you're here in the Midwest. Jack will be back with his normally scheduled Locked On Royals podcast tomorrow. I'm sure he'll be breaking down the entire series with the White Sox and a bunch more. So that will be coming up here tomorrow. We'll be back for another postcast on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I mean, every day this week, we're going to have Royals postcast except for Monday. So that's what you can expect going forward. I appreciate you guys for hopping in and appreciate you guys for subscribing, for liking the video, and for turning on those notifications. I'm Chance Liebau. I will see you on Tuesday evening. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Royals Postcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.